Hey, what's going on, guys? I'm back. Gonna work on the EE3 some more. I got a few things in so I can get some a few little things done here and there. Not gonna be big leaps of progress, but something. So, anyways, let's jump right in it. All right, so I got brass black in. I got the true oil for finishing the wood. I forgot to paint these. These are the stock greeblies that go on the very back, and we don't know what the real part is, so these are 3D printed ones that are supposed to be a pretty good facsimile of what they are supposed to be. They are 3D printed, so they got a texture to them. I'm going to hit them with some primer and see how bad this texture actually is, because I might have to do a bit of sanding. We'll see. But the 3D print on this is pretty good. I mean, it's really not terrible. It's just I worry about, like, you know, some of these edges are a little rough, and, you know, I want it to look nice. And then the other thing I'm going to do, this steel wool in the vinegar thing, it's pretty funky. I did more research on it. You know, apparently it's one of those things, the longer it sits, the stronger it gets. It's been sitting for 5 days now, so I think I'm going to try on a piece of scrap wood. Probably not this one, but I'm just going to brush some on a little spot that on a piece of scrap that I have that's fairly smooth. But anyways, let me show you this stuff. It's pretty gross, and then I'm going to shake it and see what it looks like. Because actually, I'll show you what right now. It's kind of clear-ish, but there's a lot of crud in there. I'm going to give it a shake here in a second, and you can see how that looks after I shake it. But first, we're going to look at it top down. It's pretty bleh. All right, lid on tight. Let's give it a shake. Now look at it. That'll settle out. It's got a grayish but kind of warm, got a bit of brown to it. So we'll brush a little on, we'll see what happens. And I might even brush some on this other piece of wood just to see what happens to it. Alright, get my brush. Got this nasty stuff. I'll grab this piece of wood here too. So I got this piece of wood, it's pretty smooth. It hasn't been sanded yet, but it's smooth. I'm not going to get splinters from it or anything. Alright. Doesn't smell pretty. Alright, that's all I'm going to do with that. We'll just let that sit. Alright, look at that. It's really a lot darker. I mean, it's a stain, obviously, but it's got this grayness to it. I might actually have to dilute this stuff. I should probably strain it and dilute it. I mean, that is awfully dark. I mean, it looks pretty good. I also kind of wonder what it's going to look like if I sand some of it, too. Ooh, let me try that. I'm going to try sanding a little bit, see if I can get a fade going. Okay. That's interesting. Kind of wonder what it will look like. Maybe I should put some water on it real fast and see if it'll fade it. Or not fade it, but show what it's going to look like dark, like with the stain on it. I liked that it really brought out those streaks. Alright, I have gone and strained it. I just strained it through a paper towel and then put it right back into the container it was in. I don't really care if it's super clean or whatever. It's just filthy vinegar is basically what it is. I'm going to try diluting it now and trying on this same scrap here. I think I'm just going to try 50-50 And I'll just do another little section here. Basically, I'm just trying to figure out how dark I want it, and then move forward there. I don't need a lot. Oh, it's a little bit richer, I think, in color already. Less gray. But not quite as warm as what you get with a normal. Alright, let that dry for a minute. Well, that's amazing. I diluted that at 50%. You can't even tell. That's just the color it's gonna be. It might even be darker. Maybe because I sanded this one. That is nuts. Maybe I need to dilute it even more. Another experiment. Move this out of the way. More water. Let's thin this down a lot. It's a urine sample. It's very weird urine. Look at that, it's already getting really dark. I wonder if I just try and soak off what is left here. Dry it. What? There's zero change. It's the exact same color. That's like, it's like 1/5 maybe. 1/5, and it's just as potent. Alright, so that worked. That's lighter. It's still very gray. I basically just brushed it on, wiped off the excess real fast, and then dried it. And that got a lot lighter. You can see that. But it doesn't seem like diluting. I mean, I poured more water in too, but I don't think that it would have mattered because I poured 4 times as much water in there and it made zero change. Next up, we're gonna put the brass black on this little spot right here. I'm just gonna hit it with a little bit of steel wool real quick to give it a quick polish. I find the metal tends to take a little bit better to any sort of chemical if it's been, the surface has been slightly rubbed, you know, with an abrasive. So give that a quick shine. I'm also gonna do this little bit right here. I filed this to make the barrel fit on it. I don't want that brass peeking through though. It doesn't take a whole lot to get this ready. Oh, that's wanting to go places. It's all loosey-goosey here. And we're going to do this side as well. Jeez. It's just wanting to get around. I'm trying to not get it on me. Alright, we're going to do it again. multiple treatments. We're going to use a smaller applicator here. Try to keep it a little more localized. Try. Well, I don't know how I feel about that. It's darker. Of course, I could go here and polish this whole thing. All right, I'm going to start primering these. I'm debating on which primer I want to use because I have some that are thicker and good for filling in details. I know that doesn't sound like something you want from primer, but if you're going to be spraying something that's 3D printed and has print lines and texture, that is what you want. But it's very hard to spray it, and I don't like brushing it on because then you leave paint streaks, you know, you leave lines because it's thick. So I'm just going to go with the regular primer and see what it looks like, because this texture, it's kind of got a metallized like look to it, and it kind of hides the fact that it's got texture. So once I put primer on, it's going to really reveal what it actually looks like. All right, so I was right about the texture. It's definitely there. It's not just the speckled nature of the 3D printing media that they used. So I gotta do some sanding. I don't want this to be a textured piece on the stock. I feel like it should be smooth. The real part, if we knew what it was, I'm sure is gonna be completely smooth. It looks like an internal piece that was molded out of something. So, yeah, fun sanding montage. Go. Alright, so I have primered this, sanded it, primered it again, sanded it. It still feels a little bit rough. Not real thrilled with how that's going along. So I wanted to see if anybody knows of a good way to remove texture on 3D printing. If anybody has ideas or techniques they want to share, you know, hit me up, let me know. I'd love to hear them. Anyways, I'm going to call the video at that because I want to wait on a response, and I already did everything I set out to do for this video. So check out the blog, propchopshop.com. It'll be the Return of the Jedi EE3, and check you later.